Now we're going to give everybody a little bit of time to get in here and get the chat room up and running. Hello, everyone. Hey, Blake. Hi, Raji. Hi, everyone. Let me see where I am in, am I even in Discord on a talk thing? I think I am. No, I'm probably not. Here, let me get in here. In case, oh, Nice is, he might be here. I don't know. Let me see. Let me go to Gatekeepers. There we go. Okay, so if Nice is around, he can go to Gatekeepers and see me. Okay, so we have a lot to do. Real quick, there were questions that were left, there were charts that were done, and we are going to get into them that were left in the classroom and classroom questions. So we will be touching on all of those today. And I want to thank everyone for being here. I think it's really important that we gather as a group and that we try to prove out the work. It's an extremely important thing that's been needed in astrology for a very long time. It's not to show off or look at me, because if I wanted people to be looking at me and if I wanted to be famous, you'd be seeing a picture of me and you'd be seeing video of me on here. The star, literally, or the stars, it's the astrology. That's where the focus needs to be. Never on the astrologer, with the exception of Alfred Vitay. The focus needs to be always on the astrology, not the astrologer, because it really it's always going to come down to what we can prove. On that note, let's been a crazy week. Let's get together and phew, kind of slough it off. We had Easter last weekend, and time to pray. And we'll get into our work, our lecture, and our work. So if we can all take a nice deep cleansing breath. And a nice deep breath of unification with each other. And a nice deep breath of unification with God. That would be good. Oh, dear God, we ask that you guide each of us in our path, that we would find clarity in Uranian astrology. Please remove from us the blocks of self-proclaimed experts and expertise, and show each of us the truth in our stars. Inspire each and every one of us to seek only divine proof in astrology. And also, God, please strip us of all false beliefs and reveal only the profound truth. Allow divine knowledge to burst forth into our highest vibration and awareness. And may we feel our spiritual connection with the celestial DNA in all of us more deeply, powerfully, and substantially than ever before. Please open our minds, our hearts, our souls, that each of us would find enlightenment. And so it is, and we thank you. Amen. You know, people have asked me, like, why do you pray? It's astrology. It's the stars. Do you not believe that astrology is proof? By the way, we're going to be continuing with Beyonce and Jay-Z. We're not done with them yet. We have a lot to do. Because you remember last week we did Blue Ivy's birth. So we were able to prove that. We should be able to prove this, right? Wouldn't you, all of you agree? Encore! Encore! This, by the way, is a very key um, issue. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Let me see what's going on. I got a little bit of a situation I just need to take care of, and we'll get this thing. Okay, great. So one of the things that we have to do, you know, one of the reasons that we're here improving astrology is to be consistent. And one of the reasons why I ask every one of you in doing your events to pick big life events is because they're easier to prove. So in keeping with that, let's everybody get together and get your app up. Okay, and set your app up. You need two different tri-dials. So here's Beyonce's information, here's Jay-Z's, and then down at the bottom, this is the birth of Rumi and Sir Carter, the twins. Now, what's good about doing this birth, and somebody had said to me this week while I was working on it, well, why didn't you do that first? Because they didn't come first. That's why. Because in their lives, in their experience, that was not their first birth. And the first time you have a child together, not that they're not all blessed, is very different, but come on. I mean, she has one child, a baby girl, after a miscarriage, a rainbow baby no less. And then she has a set of twins. And if astrology is real and true, then every event in someone's life is an event we can prove out. So, while you guys get this up, while everybody, you know, if you need to sign up for the app, you know, go online, sign up at myastroworld.com, and it's free. You just have to confirm your email, which means go to your spam file, go to your trash file, go to your promotional file. If you don't see an email that you can confirm, you can't use the app. So until you've confirmed your email, you're not going to be allowed to use the app. It's the way we, you know, security. It's the way we protect the app and everybody. So there's that. Okay. Now, while we're going through this, I want to comment. So this past week, and if you're not on the server, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm sorry. That's, you know, we keep the server pretty well locked down these days because it's important to treat this like a school. So last month in March, one of our friends, one of our close friends and members, Tia, her house was burgled, and we presented to everyone on the server that since this was an event that occurred and affected both her and her husband while they were out of town, by the way, um, we should be able to find this event. This is not something simple. You know, you come home after a little weekend vacation or a little week away, and your house has been turned upside down, and your safe has been gone through, and you've lost jewelry and some money and valuables. They took the contents of the safe. So I had proposed to everyone that they get Tia's information. Well, first I proposed to Tia when it happened. I said, "Listen, this is a great test for the class because along with doing your own chart and unfolding the astrology in your own chart, you should all be working with each other on each other's charts because it gives you an opportunity to do the back and forth with a live person, to look at the chart. And I don't see a lot of work that's live in the room, in the classroom. And this is something that's the responsibility of all of you. We say all the time, we will look in on you. If we see people working in there, we will check in on you. But what all of you need to be doing to learn this astrology or to get to a point where you can master it is to be practicing on each other. Yes, I'm not sure what content. The only content we really want is the app and your events. So I'm not really sure. Charts. With our app, yes, of course, with our app. Right. Yes. Okay, so if you're new to the server, you post your questions, just a question. You post the app data exactly the way it's put into the app in the questions. And then if you're demonstrating a chart, you post the chart, but in white. If you have Epic Pen, which you should, you write in white, you write the half sum that you're focused on, and each one should be singular. So this is what we want from all of you. Right. Okay. So here's the idea behind what we're doing on the server. And we're trying to teach everyone how to look at astrology and look at charts in a different way. I think the biggest problem I'm having is getting every one of my students here to understand that things don't happen in a vacuum. Everything that happens as far as a big event has a multitude of smaller events that lead up to a big event. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I have another friend who's from New York City, a dear friend who's been very helpful to us and continues to be helpful. So we'll know the difference. He's Dab, David Augustus Ball. You're David from New York City. So we will recognize the difference when he comes on. Okay. What we want, though, as far as your charts, though, is in keeping with what we're doing. So if you've submitted your natal delineation, which we need, because we're teaching you our method. When people come here and they're bringing other people's method and they're using their system, this is where we're going to get lost. This is where you're going to get lost. This is where you're not going to learn. And this is where everybody here is going to become frustrated, because if there's something we've absolutely proven beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's that the West Uranian astrology is bad astrology. Right, his formula book. The formula book, the rule book, is one of the most key components in Uranian astrology. And I'm still curious to this day why this isn't what people. I mean, you want to talk about burying the lead as far as astrologers. It's always, look at me, let me tell you my interpretation, my this, my that. Screw you and your idiocy. What makes you so special? You're just a derivative dummy and you don't even realize it. And if that stings or hurts or you find that offensive, that's because you don't understand what happened here. That man, Alfred Vitay, sat alone in 1918, 1919 and worked out this formula book by himself. Imagine the labor, the math, the manual math involved in this. And then I guess he pays, we can we can surmise based on the evidence that he paid Ludwig to publish his book, and that's why the publishing company is called Vitay Verlag. Because Ludwig didn't have a publishing company. He had like a little printing press. He popped out newspapers, like little newsletters. The equivalent of a flyer, a multi-page flyer now, or little newsletters. Do you get newsletters from your homeowners association or anything like that? I do. Our neighborhood. So he doesn't publish a book until Alfred Vitay and Regelwerk Plantenbilder in German. So this is the first book that Ludwig publishes. This man sat alone. That first book, there's no mention of Ludwig being authorized or how they inserted themselves into his work. Just, this is part of the problem, is that all these astrologers are trying to be famous and erase this man's name. You should honor this man's work. You should pay an homage to him. He should be first and foremost, just like Ruth Drummond. These are people that have actually worked to developing the work. Astrology was one thing before Alfred Vitay, and after Alfred Vitay in this rule book, it's something quite different. And when I say they're burying the lead, how is it that when astrologers start to talk about Uranian astrology, the first thing that should come out of their mouths is, did you know that there is a formula book for astrology with 5,000 formulas? Because I promise you, 98% of people who are looking for astrology and studying astrology and astrology enthusiasts at every level, even some of the masters, don't know about that book. I know people that are master Western astrologers. They had no idea that book even existed. They're in the NCGR. They were certified by them. I know some of them that were certified from the AFA and Kepler. I know a variety of master astrologers. I don't get along with them because I call them on their bullshit. I call them the masqueraders, not the master astrologers. I'm like, oh, well, if it isn't the masquerader, because they all are. And, they believe their own bullshit. They can't prove what they're saying in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 charts. So they focus on the charts that they focus on. I'm making each of you focus on all of your charts, because if you can't prove out your life, each of you, then astrology somewhere has a loophole. It has a weak link, and that has to be fixed. I also try to explain to all of you that on the event, on a day that there's an event, there are multiple triple patterns indicating the event. The job of the astrologer is to understand in their common sense and really in knowing the astrology how to align all of the triple patterns that there are in some sort of organized fashion that indicate to the native and to the astrologer, this is what is going to happen within a reasonable certainty. We believe, based on the events of the past, this is what we believe will happen. By the way, that's why we're doing the twins. Based on past events, we have a reasonable certainty and that's how we approach this, that the same half sums of the last birth would apply this time. This family is not provincial. They're all over the world. So I hope everybody has their charts up. By the way, this time, and this is one of those things that we do, there was a data breach. This is an enormous violation of their privacy, by the way. But it was done. It's everywhere. We may as well use it. TMZ got a hold of their birth certificates and published their birth certificates. So Rumi, the female, they say that she's, do you notice what they're saying here? Okay. Female, twin, and over here, they're saying first. Do you see that? And she was born at 5:13 a.m. Sir, who is the male, can you see that? Was also born at 5:13 a.m. Well, I know that there's women here. We all know, any of us who have given birth, you cannot deliver two babies at exactly the same or even within a minute. Absolutely a C-section. That's absolutely right. That's the only way that's possible. So, on top of everything we saw last week, the node Mars, the Hades, the karma, everything that we explained about childbirth, we need to be able to find this, which, by the way, this is almost in every birth. Almost every woman gets an episiotomy, so there is some sort of an incision or a cut to the body. And if not a cut, a tear. The baby will rip you. And if the baby doesn't rip you, child, please do some Kegel exercises. Like, oof, that's not good either. Okay. So, anyway. Sorry. This is from, oh, goodness. Wait a second, guys. I have a problem here. Oh, wow. Something happened here that screwed up my charts. Give me a second, guys. Let me fix this. Like, totally screwed my stuff up. Oh, let me see if I can fix this. Hold on a minute. And you know what? I ran a test of this just before the class. This shouldn't look like this. Let me just get in here and fix this little mess here and find out why. Okay. Okay, guys. I believe I have resolved the problem. All right. So this was from last week. Do you remember where we started last week with her node Hades? With her node Mars and then the Mercury, the Hades. Do you remember all of this from last week? This was the birth of Blue Ivy. If you have the chart set up like I asked you to, for June 13th, 2017 at 5:13 a.m. at the Ronald Reagan Hospital, that's what it looks like. So we're doing a different chart. But we are trying to see if we can do the same thing. So the first thing we want to look at is the node Mars, and the node Mars lines up in a triple pattern. We see that again. The next thing is, if you remember from last week, this is a musical family. This is Capito Chrono. So they bring these children into the world. These children are born into a corporation, and they're being groomed, not in a negative, in a very positive way. They're being groomed from the very beginning. What Beyonce's father had done for her in making them work out and jog and sing or run and sing, and all of the things that he did helped her to become the entertainer that she is. Like, she's able to sing live where other people are not, and do an entire dance number and be okay and sing her way through it. So naturally, she sends her children to get an education, they have nannies, they have, they're learning French. It's my understanding Blue Ivy is learning French. She's taking dance classes, voice classes. So from their birth, these parents have already set them up. Here's the Hades again, karma. Here's your Mars Uranus, and anybody who thinks these don't line up, work them out on the dial. They do. In some cases, I made it easy for you. In other cases, I expect you to go look for yourselves. If you move that red dial around, you're going to find out that every one of these is a triple pattern. I moved this one over here because watch this. These are all the same from last year. It's the Capito Chronos, it's the node Mars, the Hades, the Capito Chronos, the Mars Uranus. And if there's Mars Uranus in a birth, what else do we need? Do you guys remember? Hold on, wait. Let's go back. We're sure she had a C-section. They were both born at exactly 5:13 a.m. So we're going to have to see Saturn in here. Probably going to see Venus. It's not rape, but it's a trauma to the body. But something else is very likely, and it tested out to be true, by the way. We got to go through all this again. Okay, this is the Mars Uranus. Do you see what this is? This is the Mercury, because you need that for the successful operation. This is the Saturn, which you need because it was a C-section. But I lined this up for you because what this is, and if you line this up, this is your node Pluto. What I believe happened, based on this chart, is that they had planned on doing this naturally, if possible. And a decision had to be made that changed what they were planning. Do you see how this goes right across the bow of this Pluto, which is the directed Pluto? So this is their plan for the year. But in a moment, do you see, by the way, this is something that's very close because it doesn't change from her natal chart. Can you imagine how many times this woman's plans have changed in her environment? She's had to switch up, do something different. I'm sure that she had a plan. And by the way, a C-section changes your body. It changes your ability to recuperate and recover in terms of speed. It really, really slows down your recovery time. And she had twins, which is already rough on the body. So that's one of the reasons why I marked that for you. But do you see that even for the C-section, we can prove the C-section? This is the Venus as a triple pattern. Do you see this? Venus, Venus, Venus. So this is probably a very, very hurried situation. And do you see where this is as far as the transit, the admetos, which are things of a long duration and things that happen. But look at this moon Venus. They have to make a decision. There's something, look at the sun of the day, sun Venus, she's having a baby, everything seems okay. But something went wrong. Something didn't go according to plan. So there was a change and a shift, and that's why you can find so much in her chart. I forget which ones. Here's your node Pluto, by the way. No, this isn't the node Pluto. This is the hold on, guys. See, I'm losing my little notes here. Mm, I'm gonna have to go back through my notes. This is an important triple pattern that has to do with the actual surgery because it's to the body, the hidden effects to the body and the shock to the body. So I forget which one this is. Yeah, Capito twice. But this was something. Yeah, this wasn't. I don't believe that this was Sun Capito. Yeah, you definitely see that. Listen, again. By the way, this is another reason why you need to stay in your own charts and stay out of other people's charts. Right? No, it's not three times. It's not organized. I forget which one it is, but when we get over to the app, I'll be able to pull it up. Okay? I'll. I just don't remember which one it is, and for some reason, I guess I got distracted when I was putting this together, and the notes came wrong. I do want to bring this up though, and get you to focus because we're going to get to that. We'll be able to cover this. The other reason we have everybody doing your own chart and we try to stay away from doing this is really to give you an example so that all of you understand kind of what it is you need to be looking for in your own chart. But you need to be doing this in your charts. And one of the reasons, and I'm about to show you why you need to stay in your own charts and stay the hell out of famous people, like this is not the way to learn astrology for yourself. And when you go to a class and all they're doing is going over everybody else's chart and they're not going over your charts with you, you're not going to learn the astrology. Why do I say that? Because these are not provincial people. This girl doesn't lead an ordinary life. Everything she does out in the world, the whole world knows about it. She's all over the place all the time. Regular, ordinary, normal people who are not megastars or music moguls or mad scientists, whatever it is that they're up to, on an event, they don't have a chart that encompasses their triple patterns that encompass like the entire chart. Why? Because most of what happens to us doesn't matter to the whole world. for a variety of different reasons. When you do the chart of famous people, you're almost always going to see something like this. These people do not live low-key lives. They're out in the public. The whole world is looking at them. For a variety of different reasons and a variety of different triggers, there's going to be proof that everybody's watching them for different things. Now, her husband, we proved, last week, the same kind of event. With Blue Ivy. So what happened this time? There's his node Mars. There's that Hades. Or no, I believe that was Capito Chronos was the first one. And then node Mars. This is an interesting half sum that we're going to go over and a marker. And the reason we're going to go over this is to get all of you to understand the equidistance and the arrow. This arrow throws people off. You guys do not realize that these two lines are equally distant of each other. This is the focal point. But they measure an equal distance. Watch. This is why you want to move your dial around. Did you guys see that? This is the same pattern. Jay-Z is having a different experience again than she is. But still, all of the planets that involve the birth of these twins, they cover almost everything except this spot down here. Whereas Beyonce, the focal point, because she is she's the mother, she's the one who gave birth, she carried a set of twins. So we have Beyonce's chart that is completely covered. But both of their charts indicate the Mercury is very real for both of them because the TMZ got a hold of the baby's birth certificates and released the children's birth certificates. So someone must have been talking to TMZ early on, by the way. Anyway, this is the reason, if you take a look at these charts, this is the reason why you need to work on your own chart. When you have an event, chances are it's not going to look like that. This is what Beyonce's chart looked like when Blue Ivy was born. And these are the planets and the overlay for Rumi and Sir. Here's Jay-Z's chart on top of Beyonce. This is a very, very much a shared experience for the two of them. And when you're looking at synastry, what you're seeing as far as the hard contacts where the planets or the points are right on top of each other, there's definitely a story in there, but remember what we're always looking for is we're looking for the half sums to line up in synastry. Where you have squares, oppositions, or conjunctions in synastry, this is where you're not in that perfect flow. The perfect flow that exists when we're looking at Uranian astrology is when all of the planets between two people agree, even if it's on a fight or a breakup. That's the natural flow. That's the natural energy. When you see something like the sun to the moon versus a sun-moon half-sum that shares an axis point, what you're seeing is a contrast. You're seeing that this masculine energy, how it plays off of or agitates or stimulates or motivates or aggravates, but it's a contact, so it's doing something, but it's not flowing the way shared half-sum lines flow. This is why, by the way, their marriage and their partnership works the way it does. They have a variety, as we showed a couple of weeks ago, a variety of shared half sums that were in their marriage, in their engagement, in meeting each other, in their natal charts as far as their natal synastry and the promise of their natal charts. So we saw that, we've demonstrated that, and we've examined that. And this is what is true for this couple. They live big, they play big, they work hard. Their lives, they lead very, very big lives. And everything they do, they're in the public eye. And they try to control that as much as possible. But where you see the contact and the conflict, see, even when we look at these charts, we're really seeing contacts where they're not in agreement or half sums that actually are beneficial. If you look at this, and I know it's a little hard to see, but if you're doing their charts, you'll be able to tell this is her Mercury, this is his Apollon. Their ability to effectively communicate is profound. This is his Poseidon and his Capito to her Venus, to her ascendant, to her meridian. This is a profound, divinely inspired love tie and contact that they have with each other. It's her node Mars and Kronos over here that lands on this for him. This is his Poseidon is the midpoint for her meridian ascendant. Are you guys looking at this in meridian Poseidon, what these are? These are incredible ties between two people. And by the way, if you're looking at this dial right now, right over here where his Kronos is and where her directed node Mars is, down here, do you see the Saturn Apollon? To this? These planets agree with each other. These people are going to work together. They are going to be together. Everything they do will be a partnership until one or both of them dies. I have never seen synastry for two people where they are more destined to be together. And whatever they produce, these people produce something that produces it. Whatever they produce, it gives back exponentially. Their creativity, their music, their ideas, their concepts, their way of life. So look at this. Just one more look, real quick look at this before we get on to everybody's work here. When there is a particular shared event, if you go and you line all of their planets up, the node Mars, the Hades, the Capito Kronos, you're going to see that this is where this couple is always in agreement. And that their children, that their sexuality, and the idea that they would reproduce children is a whole big part of their lives. This was something that the two of them said, we have to have children. And we have to take what we have, and whatever we had that made us who we are, we can do that and more for our children and see what our children can become. I would say that we would do the charts of these children, but I don't think that's a good idea, honestly. There's a lot of kids. There's a lot of money out there. Kids can be nasty. They run into each other. I don't think anybody, if we're going to be decent people as far as astrologers, we need to kind of recognize the lives and the world that everybody lives in, and to start doing the charts of, say, Blue Ivy or Sir and Rumi, and when they're going to school and they have kids. Some children are allowed way more internet privileges and screen time privileges than others, particularly in rich and famous households. And whatever we do and whatever we say about these children, someone may fall upon it, and it may end up back in the ears or in front of these children. So that's why I'm going to stay away from touching the children's charts. Personally, I think Beyonce and Jay-Z, they make a daily decision to lead public lives and to be public people. People are like, well, they're entitled to their private life. You're entitled to your private life when you get out of the public eye. The media isn't going to tell us what the hell's going on with politics. They're going to focus on show business and entertainers. Because if they go to politics and CEOs, then we're going to find all the crime. Anyway, I would like for every one of you to take the synastry you have for particular events with other people, and if you can make a a transparent chart and do these overlays, you need to do them. If they do not look like Jay-Z and Beyonce, it's because if you're here, let's face it, you don't have the life Jay-Z and Beyonce have. If you got the life Jay-Z and Beyonce have, you're ex parte in me, and you're paying me a lot of money privately to do this. So you're not going to fill out a whole chart, but you are going to, with your significant other or with any friend or enemy or family member where you shared a particular event, you are going to have a lot of similarities where the half sums line up. That's one of the ways that we're able to prove astrology. If you and your partner are traveling and you're on vacation together, you should both have this, vacation aspects. If you're having a bad time and they're having a great time, you're going to have different vacation aspects, but you will have at least one shared vacation aspect. But because these people get along so well, this is also what their charts look like. They're partners in a myriad of ways. They're lovers, they're friends, they're parents, they own businesses. It's not just their tours, it's not just doing shows together. It's all the things that they invest in together. Okay, so we're going to get to some of the work that we have to get to for you guys and get into doing a little work on in the app. If you have any comments or questions about this or any of our videos, please like, comment, and share the videos. And don't forget where to do it. It's on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can leave messages and posts and comments any one of these places. We prefer you do it on YouTube. Honestly, it's not a good use of our time to be hopping around from one place to another. And somebody has told me, oh, no, there's a thing where you can, post multi-platform. It's like, I'm an astrologer, guys. I'm trying to do astrology. I'm not trying to be some mad maven of, internet. artwork, okay, and software, like some genius in software. That's not what I'm doing here. Okay, so we would appreciate it, by the way. We do. We appreciate it greatly when people like, comment, and share. Okay. So we're going to get to this chart in a second, but I wanted to go over a few things. So, Keisha, you did, I don't know if you're paying attention, but you did a couple of things. Becky did a few things for the theft from Tia. I think a lot of people did. One of the things everybody needs to remember, do you think, just out of sheer curiosity, do you think some guys were walking by Tia's house and just like, hey, man, let's hit this house? Or do you think this was planned? I'm sorry. Is there a question? Let's see. Sun Capito was not the triple pattern. Just that Ginger was bringing that up. We'll get to Beyonce and Jay-Z in a second. See, I have their charts up. Look. So we'll get to their charts and the event. So we can do this. But one of your fellow classmates left a question, and these were her. This is her chart, which, by the way, everyone can check this. But before we get into that, for our newbies, here's the app. It's completely free. You have to register over here, confirm your email. So check your promotional, your spam, your trash files. If you don't get an email back, check all those other different places in your email where it might have gone, or it may have gone, and confirm the email. Like put us in your save, save our email in there, confirm the email, and that's how you get into the app. Now, you were looking at Sun. Yeah, no, I don't think this was Sun Capito. I think this was Venus Zeus. If I'm not mistaken, this was the Venus Zeus that I was trying to prove out, because in looking at his chart, I noticed. Plus, he's known. He's known for being a writer. I had noticed that he would be okay. So that's that one. Yeah, within a degree or two. I wonder which one that was. I have to go back through my notes. Oh no, that's not even Venus Zeus. Look. Okay, that's what it was. So this was Venus Zeus. This one was Venus Zeus. Now, the reason why I wanted to go over this with all of you is because if you look at it over here, it doesn't seem to look like it's equidistant. I think what a lot of you forget is that this is a 360-degree dial. It's divisible by 3, it's divisible by 4, by 16. That was the whole point of the harmonics, all the way up to 59. You can keep squaring this out. But this is not an even number or distance away from this. In fact, mathematically on the dial, this is actually, we say it's 2230, it's really 2250, just like this is 6750. This is why we don't call them quadrants, we call them sectors, because a quadrant would make it different. These are the sectors, okay, rather than quadrants. But if you come and you move the dial, and this was his Venus Zeus, which, by the way, look where it sat, right on his natal Capito Chronos, which is birth, to give birth. Do you guys remember that from last week? That Capito Chronos was birth? Anybody remember that? Probably not, right? Here. Remember? You remember? Concerning the head of the family, representing greatness in art, the talented master artist, serious arts and artist, art protector, patron, distinguished or illustrious society or company, large corporation or enterprise, meetings of heads of state, license bureaus, marriage office, registry offices, United States or United Nations, and it went to, where did it go to that it was first? I forget what it was. Oh, so it's sorry about that. Venus Zeus. Oh, right. Venus Zeus Pluto, the births. The Capito Chronos is the registry office, the corporations, the which by the way, I'd be really curious to know if they ever found out who released their data. That's such a breach of privacy, by the way. Okay, so we have Capito Chronos, this, which they're not getting married, but these are licenses, these are offices, this is a large company. And I'm sure that each one of these children has their own corporation. Well, yeah, it's artistic creativity. But they have everything. If you go through their chart, like we should pick one of the starts of their world tour and see what happens when they toured together, like the opening of a show. These people, everything in their lives is intertwined. Not every couple has a marriage like theirs. Even people who work together, they don't necessarily have as much going on within their marriage and within their shared company as these two people. These two people are global. They are all over the world. I mean, they will close one show, get on a plane, be flying to another show, just enough downtime to get ready, catch your breath a little bit, and it's time for hair, makeup, lights, camera, action. And every one of these shows has like the press tour that you have to show up for, or that you meet at a hotel and 50 different people in 50 different rooms, or in one room, 50 different people set up and they interview you in one afternoon. It's a lot for these people. So you would expect to see massive activity in any event in a famous person's life, especially a mogul or a mega mogul, a superstar, your A-lister, whatever you want to call them. You would expect to see a multitude of triple planets at any event of theirs that the world would be interested in. These people having babies, the whole world wants to know about it. And I'm sure that aside from all of the famous people who sent, and rich and powerful people who sent their babies gifts, I'm sure complete strangers sent their babies gifts. I'll bet you their doorbell was ringing every 15 seconds. Okay. The important thing that all of you need to do really is just spend a lot of time in your own charts. These people will never be as important in your life as what's going on in your life and the people that are in your life. Your husband, your children, your neighbors, your friends, your family. These are the charts that you're going to learn astrology on. Beyonce, Jay-Z, they give us examples, but they're not even great examples because they're very public people. So much of their life is so easy to see because they're so public. If you go look at the events in your own life, you won't have, say, as many triple patterns, but you will notice that you do have a lot of triple patterns. Any event in your life is going to kick off a multitude of triple patterns. Maybe not as many as Jay-Z or as many as, say, Beyonce when you're having children or you're buying a piece of property or you're starting a new business, but they will nonetheless. And that's what you should be focused on. That's really, unless Jay-Z and Beyonce are going to pay your bills or some famous person is going to pay your bills, you're spinning your wheels. If this is a person of interest to you and you have a deep fascination, I understand it. But if you're looking to become a master astrologer, get in your own charts and stay there. And no one is asking me questions or even nice. Like, we're dumbfounded by this. The part of this astrology where you begin to disseminate what the rule book is trying to tell you and the language that we're trying to work on, some of it is really, really confusing. And we expected that we would be getting some questions from some of you saying, hey, this looks a little strange. Or I don't really understand what this means in my chart. If none of you have questions, then we're going to operate under the assumption that all of you completely understand everything in your chart. You do yourself a disservice by not asking us. Obviously, if it's something really personal, ask it in the class questions, and we're not going to post it online. The server is a place where people are supposed to be able to work openly with each other, learn how to work with each other, and cut down on your workload. All of you in the past couple of weeks should have been in the classroom together working on Jay-Z and Beyonce's chart. There's a lot of stuff you can learn how to read by looking at their charts, how to read these things in your own charts. But one of the things you have to do is work together. Yeah, no, anything, well, what? What about the app? Yeah, no, here you can ask about the app. We don't want you to put your personal, really personal business on YouTube. But for example, if you got married or a divorce and it wasn't contentious or whatever it is, you had a baby, these are events that we can look at without getting too involved in your personal, really personal or intimate details. If there's something super personal or intimate that you want to discuss about a particular event in your life, that's where you leave the message in the classroom and say, hey, listen, I'd like for this not to be on YouTube. That's very, very important, by the way, is that all of you understand we're not here to expose your private or personal lives. We're here trying to show you that this is really the best way and the fastest way to learn this. You have a lot of people out here who have been studying and practicing Uranian astrology for 10, 15 years. They're doing YouTube videos. They claim to be their master astrologers in Uranian astrology, and they're not. I mean, the second you see any Western astrology pop out, right there, American astrologers got a hold of them and they ruined them. They contaminated them. That was the invention of Udo Rudolph with that technique book, was to throw those houses in there and muddy up the water. Anyway, David, you said you had a question about the app. Waiting for you to type. Yes, you put in your information. Yeah. What browser are you using? The app works best in Google Chrome, by the way. You're saying you put your basic information in, and then when you go to the birth information, it's blank. You're talking about what here? This? This birth information? Okay. If it goes blank, it's because you did something wrong. This is exactly the way you have to input the data. If you put too many, yeah, if you put too many spaces in, or you don't put enough spaces in, if you don't click on this, by the way, when you put in the town where the hospital is, you click on this. Don't try to put in the latitude and the longitude yourself. This will do it. Click on the magnifying glass. Also down here, the same thing goes. You click on the magnifying glass when you put in the area that it happened. Not if this is blank. You got all that. But this ends up blank after you've done it. Is that what you're saying? Because that seems to be what the question you're asking is. Just the degree minute part on top of the blank. You get both dials. Well, there's uh, up here is how you determine which dial you're going to get. Okay, on this chart right here. Are you in the server right now? Hold on. Are you in the server right now? Okay. Hold on a second. I think I know where you are. Right here. Okay. If you unmute yourself, we can speak. You have to unmute yourself and put your headset on. You're deafened in the inside the server because I see you in the applicants in the call there. Yes, in Discord. This way you can speak with me because I'm not right. I'm not understanding your question. I'm a little bit confused. And sometimes, by the way, this is really important. This is another reason why we're doing this as a live stream and with the multi slides and having the ability to speak with people. When I watch astrologers talking back and forth with each other, they I cannot begin to tell you how many times they're using different zodiac systems, different house systems, different astrology, and they're all agreeing with each other. This stuff doesn't mix and match well. Okay, you are muted, which is you. You're the one who's muted inside of YouTube. So that would be you, by the way. I'm also going to add you as a student here, but we'll talk to you here in the applicants area. Sometimes you have to log out and come back in again. By the way, I can see that you're not muted or that you're still muted. So sometimes you have to log out and come back in again. This time when you do, you're going to end up in the classroom. And by the way, if you're having problems with the app works best in Google Chrome. Okay? That's Maybe not the best thing for you, but it's really what works well. And Nice is actually working on some upgrades and doing some things. We know that it doesn't work. We know about the problem that the dial goes like crazy in Firefox. It just keeps going around and round. I even mentioned to him that it would be great if he could get the app to work in like Ubuntu. Yeah, you may have to if you're using it in incognito mode, it's because you have to turn off your ad blockers for the site. We don't have any ads on the site anyway. But if you turn off your ad blockers on for this particular site, then you won't have to use it in incognito. Incognito is the last recourse, but sometimes we have to we'll note somebody's email and their IP. Like we let people know, hey, this IP is okay. The host. I've been blocked out of the app more than once. As a matter of fact, I waited a couple of months until I was actually at my friend's house one afternoon, and I got in touch with Nice, and I said to him, "Hey, I'm trying to get into the app. I'm here right now. Can you let me in there?" And you're using Google Chrome. The next time you see Nice online, this would be Nice would be the one who knows more about how to handle that than I do. Like we don't want to be trite, but yeah, Nice told you to use incognito right to get in to be able to get in there. Did he give you any indication as to why it wasn't working for you, other than possibly turn your cookies, clean your cache, clean your cookies? Yeah, you have to accept cookies, clean your cache, and definitely turn your ad blocker off. If you have any kind of ad blocker or your defender, like a Windows defender, anything like that may interfere with the app because remember, what you're really telling your computer to do is you're telling your computer, give me open access to this particular website, and the website is doing that. Hmm. I don't know. I guess the next time you see Nice, mention it to him, but he is working on some stuff. What do you mean you can get the dial but not that? And you're using Google Chrome. You must have something else on your computer that's interfering with it. Yeah, you have to have something else in your computer that's actually interfering with the way this operates on your computer. Yeah, the dial's terrible. But see, nobody really has problems in Google Chrome. The only problem they have occasionally is when they first log in or if they go to a different computer, they might have some problems. Yeah, you have to talk to Nice. Nice is really he's the authority on these things. You guys are lucky I show up and I'm able to give these classes. I'm let me tell you something. There was a time where I was like, I don't want to like even turn the thing on. I'm afraid these things are going to blow up on me. Now I'm a little bit more friendly with the actual computers, but software coding, these kinds of dilemmas, I don't know. I tell Nice when I have a problem. I will ask him though. He's been really busy. He's like impossibly busy. Let's see what's going on with David. Is he able to come? Well, he's back in. David, if you hop in, if you're on Discord, you can see. Oh, yeah, you're in voice and video. There you go. I got to hop in there. Okay. You have to unmute yourself and go to the settings on the bottom of Discord. Here, let me show you this. Right here on the bottom of Discord, the user settings, come in here, go to voice and video, come over here and check your settings. Check your input, check your output, and then do a test to see whether you can hear yourself over here. Okay? So don't forget, go to settings. In here, here's your output. Here's your microphone. That's for your microphone. Here's for your speakers or your headset. I just disconnect everything and I put my headset on. Okay, well, you're not muted anymore, but for some reason we can't hear you. You might want to go out and come back in again, see if that works. But if you need to test and see if you hear yourself. You know that part where it says let's check? Do that. If you can hear yourself when you do let's check, then that means your microphone is working. If you don't hear yourself in your headphones, that means it's not working. And by the way, one of the biggest reasons we need you to have headphones on is because if you don't have headphones on, you have to mute YouTube. Oh, that's one thing you have to do. And the other thing is you have to have headphones on. If you don't have headphones on, we get feedback or an echo. And I don't know if you've ever tried to think your way through a problem, but when there's an echo in the background, it is maddening. Okay. Let's see what we can do about getting you up and running here. I see you again. You're still muted. Do you see the line on your microphone and the line on your headset? That indicates that you have no sound. You're in a voice and video thing and it's telling you, look, your headset, either you've muted yourself, I know I haven't. All right. Well, we're not going to keep killing airtime like this. I think unless we have any other major questions, I'm going to close out the live part of this demonstration and I'm going to hop over into the server. Okay, so we can possibly do a little bit of work for a little while in the classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and end this portion of this. You're trying to post a snippet. Okay, well, I'm going to hop into the server right now, into the classroom. And this will probably go a lot better if we're not sitting here online and dead air and all of that good stuff. So if you just give me a couple of minutes, we're going to close out. We'll see you next week. Please, if you haven't liked, comment, don't forget, do that. The show will be up in a little bit. Leave your comments, your questions, share. We appreciate all of that. Thank you very much, and we will see you back here next week. And ideally, I'll see you guys in the server working on charts this week. I want to see you guys really start getting into your charts. I have seen things in all of your charts I'm waiting for each and every one of you to discover. I'm literally waiting for you people. I'm not going to tell you. It defeats the purpose if I tell you everything. If you are in a pinch and you need to know something, I'm absolutely going to look at your chart and help you out. I'm not going to let you go blindly into a problem or a situation without taking a good look at your chart and doing a good analysis and evaluation for anything important, if you have anything coming up. But I would really like to see each and every one of you spend more time in your charts and work out your past events. Those epiphanies, those aha moments are not going to come because you think you're going to accurately predict something. The way to learn Uranian astrology and to be able to learn to predict the future is first you have to be able to prove the past. If you cannot prove the past, I I doubt the veracity of your claim that you can accurately predict the future. If people could accurately predict the future, particularly all these Uranian astrologers, self-proclaimed Uranian astrologers, where are their predictions? I saw a bunch of them take their Clinton prediction for president down the day after Trump won, and some of them stuck with it and went to like book readings and like, I must have your time wrong because you should have won. No, they shouldn't have won. Trump was always going to be president. He was the only one that showed that, and if you knew what you were doing, you would have known that. So that's part of the problem. Anyway, we're going to be back here next week. I'm going to be on the server. I will see you guys. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next week. And if you do have a problem with the app or whatever, if it's something I can't answer, send us an email and I'll ask Nice and we'll get the answer to it, or I'll go over it with Nice. We're just all kind of really crazy busy doing a lot of stuff right now. Thank you all much, everyone, for being here. Oh, and Susie, I think you were here. We were going to possibly go over a relationship issue, but I'm a little bit confused too. So we need to talk on the server. I did put up your chart though, see? But I'm very confused as to what you're trying to look for here, and I needed more information. So we'll get to that. I also don't think you're here right now, so we'll see. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you all very much. We'll be back here next Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.